it was very difficult for the batch above me to
Hmm.
get really good internships, and definitely they also struggled their way through jobs as well. So I knew that it's going to be tough. So I actually started applying the day I landed. Got a lot of reality checks because what I earlier thought that my resume is just going to go through ATS. One startup, they had just opened a role. I saw it on LinkedIn. I reached out to every person I could in that team, everyone I could find, and then I also downloaded the app. I used it a little to maybe see that can I find any change that I can email them about it. I was receiving no callbacks.
Hmm.
Nothing was happening for me, and I just couldn't figure out that what is going wrong. All of these people, they love me so much and they have like no expectations from me, so
Hmm.
the least I can do is perform to the best of my abilities.
Crazy. 10 to 20 interviews every single day on in fall semester. Switch the strategy in spring to more outreach, with more positive energy and focusing
Yes.
more on yourself and how you're applying. And that turned into 3 4 interviews. I know this sounds weird, but trust me, detach your feelings and ego from the job hunting process. Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. All right. Let's start with intro. Where are you from? When did you come to United States? What are you doing now? And then, of course, you were the intern as well. So let's start there.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. So my name is Aarushi Jain, and I'm originally from Indore, India, and I came to the States in fall of 23. I joined Carnegie Mellon. I am a graduate student for the Masters in Information Systems Management program, and my course is just 1.5 years.
Hmm.
So I'm graduating this December. And this summer, I was interning at ServiceNow as a business strategist, and I'm looking for like opportunities in the field of product and strategy.
Hmm. Nice. And then, did you have any work experience before coming to United States?
I actually did not have any. So I graduated with a bachelor's in computer science degree in 23, and I came for my master's right after this.
And bachelor's was also was in IT.
Yeah, it was computer science, but I knew that I did not want to go into a like a
Just
traditional
like us.
coding job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
many of us. Yeah.
yeah. I just knew. So even like during the last year of my undergrad, I joined a company as a PM intern,
Hmm.
and I was working in a very generalist kind of role. And that experience gave me lots of hands-on experience about things, and while applying for this degree and also deciding what the kind of fields I wanted to get into, I had an idea that I really want to be in the field of strategy and product. At that time, honestly, I was more focused on product. I didn't know a field like strategy even existed
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's I used to like live in a bubble
Yeah.
back then. So
Many of
uh,
us do. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that is how.
Cool. Before we, so I know we're gonna do a two separate video. One will be on CMU, that is coming very soon. But today we want to focus on one, how the heck did you get internship so quickly? So we want to focus on that. But before we dive into your job hunt journey and job search strategy.
Yeah.
What do business strategy intern really do? I know it's a very fancy word.
Yeah.
I know what product people do, but
Yeah.
again, like you said, strategy type of role, you didn't even know it existed. Same, like I'm sure many people don't know. So maybe if you can briefly explain, like what did you do and what does like strategy intern people do?
Yeah, sure. So, strategy is basically consulting, but for just one company.
Mm,
So, when you're a consultant, for example, at BCG or McKinsey, so you're working on problem statements for a lot of different companies. But as soon as you step into a role of strategy, you're solving again a lot of problems, but only for your own company. So
mm,
maybe you might be part of any of a division or a product or any kind of a vertical, and then you're just solving problems continuously for that particular area. So
mm,
I was particularly working on a vertical. I had a CSM, like a customer service management kind of product, and there were multiple SKUs in that product, in that line. And I had a problem statement there about some of the, like, related to operations, that they wanted the revenue to touch a certain percentage, and it was currently not at that percentage. So my job was to look into how can I, just okay, so that's the problem, like, what can you do, how can you
mm.
make that percentage into the better number.
So then I guess you spend time understanding where, first of all, like what's happening, how the data is collected, and then analyzing that data, like, okay, here are some of the ways we can increase this, and then that was probably your final presentation, I'm assuming. That
Yes.
that is such a cool role. I have a friend who works for PwC. He does the risk management consulting and strategy,
Yeah.
and one of his big client is MGM.
Yeah.
For people who
Yeah.
don't know MGM, they are the big hotels in Vegas and
Yeah.
all over the world. But yeah, so he was telling me similar things that you are like. Obviously, they
Mhm.
are working on Oracle ERP systems, and they
Mhm.
want to change to SAP and all of that. And but the whole project was, should they change? And that was the whole project for 1 year. I'm like, that is it. Like 1 year, you're just figuring out if you should change the product or not, and
Yeah.
then they came up with a conclusion that yes, they should, because XYZ things will happen. And
Yeah.
then they continued the contract with PwC and blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
it was amazing. So I'm assuming Big Four might be your target companies as well.
So particularly, I'm targeting tech companies.
Mm. Because you
Like,
want to stay in the in-house consulting
ye-
roles.
yeah, I'm so I think the process for applying for consulting roles is a bit different. I think to get into consulting properly, you can, you can might be like, you can only get in through networking, like that plays a really really big factor. And usually in tech roles, especially within companies, like, this is what I've gauged, that definitely, yes, networking does help, but even with little less networking, and if you focus more on applications and reaching out to recruiters and trying to get coffee chats, so it's still, like, you can get in, you
Yeah,
have good chances there. But
yeah.
at least for all of these big firms, like proper consulting roles, I don't think you stand a lot of good chance without networking
Mm.
into
Yeah.
those inner circles.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. Okay, cool. So now that people know what is business strategy role, let's take a step back. So you landed in August, and then you probably realized that, okay, I need to start applying. When was that realization happened? Was it before coming to United States, and was it after coming to United States? When did you like start thinking that, okay, I need to do this? What you're going to watch is an amazing story. But before you watch that, I just want to quickly say that all of these story, I compile the key insights from these stories and all the podcasts that I do. And I put this in my free exclusive newsletter community. Every week, more than 16,000 people receive my newsletter and they love it. And here are some of the examples you can see. This was a podcast on George Mason universities, and you can see how to network and 10% cold emailing, powerful LinkedIn techniques, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in becoming part of this exclusive newsletter community, absolutely free. Link is in the description, or you can go to udj.com/newsletter.
So I was always in touch with my seniors. especially with my people in my degree, to understand what is their internship situation, how did they get their internships, and it was very difficult for the batch above me to
Mm.
get really good internships, and definitely they also struggled their way through jobs as well. So I knew that it's going to be tough. So I actually started applying the day I landed. Yeah, like
Nice.
I did not have a very polished resume, but I had started applying to like one, two places because I was still trying to understand how does the application system here work.
Mm.
And once I understood that what should be my optimum strategy, and then every day I was just sitting and applying to like 10, 15 places.
Okay. So you were talking to your seniors before coming to United States, and you knew that the market is super bad.
Yeah,
Obviously, you came in 2023, which was the worst market. I think it's slightly improving, better than
yes,
2023.
definitely. Yeah,
So it's good thing. But then you came during the worst market. You knew it. So you're like, okay, you had somewhat your resume done, but
yeah,
not till the like you didn't know what exactly is gonna work out. So you
yes,
landed, you started applying. That
yeah.
is such a great story. So when you started applying 10 to 15 jobs, it sounds like daily. So
Yeah.
when did you realize that okay, I need to change my strategy, and because the resume is not working and I need to make changes to resume?
So, actually, once I had started applying for the first month or two, I used to only get rejects. Actually, for the entire semester, my first semester, I just got rejects. But
Hmm.
for the first 2 months, I was very confident on my resume. But then I got in touch with the career advisors to see that, hey man, I'm like not even getting any callbacks. There's
Hmm.
like nothing happening for me right now. And then they gave some input, and I also got it reviewed from some friends. Got a lot of reality checks because what I earlier thought that my resume is just going to go through ATS, and I just need to fill in it with keywords. It was in midway that I realized that a human is going to read it, especially for product and strategy roles.
Yes.
So it might be that maybe for tech roles, a lot of the resumes are passed through ATS, but for product strategy, there's a really, really big chance that a human is going to sit and read it. So
Hmm.
it has to be readable.
Yes.
I realized that like midway, like
Hmm.
between my first semester, that my resume isn't readable at all. It just has fluff words in it. And uh, at that moment, I realized, man, I've done so much work. I'm really proud of all the work that I've put in here, and I should really present it in a readable form. That
Hmm.
I shouldn't care about the ATS
Hmm.
system, and it should be in a readable form and it should be impactful. So I got it reviewed by a bunch of people, but I think a very important key point is to stop getting it reviewed as well, because every person
Oh, right. Because
that
everyone has a strong
yes,
opinion of what it should be.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So at some point you have to gauge that okay, now your resume is at a really good position, and you should start applying with it. Like you shouldn't really wait, that I'm going to make this resume perfect, because any
Long
new
term.
person you show, they'll tell you some changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as long as you have a good understanding that okay, this is really good, just start applying with it, and then it's fine. You can make like minor changes to it and still apply.
Amazing. Cool. How did you make it ATS keywords heavy to human readable format?
Yeah, sure. So I created a functional resume.
Hmm.
So with all of my like with under all of my roles, there were some of, for example, at that point I was applying through my PM internship experience, and I knew that my role was a very generalist one, and I did a lot of things. I also did a bit of UX designing. I also coded a little bit, and then user research and a lot of things. So instead of just writing bullet points, I actually like under my title I wrote down user research, and then I wrote like one or two point about what I did under user research, then maybe product development, and then what I did under product development. I
Hmm.
did that so that if someone looks at my resume, and I had bolded all those functions, so
Hmm.
when someone looks, they look okay, She did a product management internship, and under that, she's done UX research. She's done product development. She's done product testing.
Hmm.
They can just look at those keywords. So I was just making it easy for people to review my resume in a glance. Like I was making it so that they do not have to spend time on my resume at all. They
Hmm.
spend 5 seconds and they can gauge that okay, she has all those skills. Like she must have written something under those bullet points. They can read it later, but at least I have those skills.
Yeah.
So that's what I
And
did
the
it.
reality is that recruiters actually spends maybe 10 to 30 seconds only. So
Yes,
they don't have time. So you have to get, it's almost like, when you're creating Instagram reel, you have to hook the attention. Same thing for resume.
yes.
From the format perspective, can you walk me through? So it started probably with your header, I'm
Mm,
assuming,
yeah,
which is your name, first name, last name, and then
yeah,
your contact details like
yeah,
LinkedIn and all of that.
yes.
And education is my guess.
Yes. So actually, I got the advice that your first thing should be like whatever you put right under your head is something that you really want to draw the attention to. So with me, since I did not have like proper work experience, as a full time role, a salary role, even though I was interning full time and it was like a full responsibility. So the first thing I wanted to pull the attention to was my Carnegie Mellon education.
Yeah, and the
That's
brand, obviously.
Yes, that's why I put education first.
Hmm.
And then I wanted to pull the attention towards my PM experience.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of times, people do not have any internship experience to show. So, it is sometimes recommended maybe put your projects first or
Yeah,
skills first,
correct.
because that's what they're going to read first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I did not, because I was following the functional resume format. So, I did not need to like showcase some extra skills because I knew under my internship experience, they would be able to quickly look at look at a glance at what are some skills, and I put skills section really at the bottom of
Hmm.
my resume just for the ATS thing, that if my resume goes through ATS, then whatever keywords they want, I just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh, fit
Yeah.
everything under those skills section. Like even I didn't read it.
Right.
I don't expect anyone to read my skills
No, no,
section.
100%. And that's what I teach as well, like to put header, education experience, project skills, which sounds like
Yeah.
that's what you did.
Yes, yes.
Because I am a hiring manager. I've hired, like, I have product managers under me. I've hired
Yeah.
product managers, and when they write skills, I almost like it feels like I don't even pay attention because, like, there's no way for me to judge that you really have those skills other than actually looking at your bullet points in your experience and in your projects, that okay, this is how you possess those skills versus just putting it in the skills section. There's
Yeah.
no way for recruiters to tell, like, sure, it
Mm.
might work in ideas, but I 100% agree with that. So cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you say experience, you mentioned like UX, product, and all these product development. Are these internships, different internships during your bachelor's?
So actually, this was all under one single internship.
Oh, okay. So you did
So during
multiple roles.
Yeah, so
Great.
during my last year of undergrad, when I was interning as a PM, since it was a generalist role and the company was really supportive, so the thing is, they really liked me as an individual and they created that role for me.
Hmm.
So even though it was like a 200 people company, but I was working in the R&D department, and we
Hmm.
were 8 people working on a single project. So since it was a small team, it felt more like a startup, and we were just picking up skills and just doing whatever was needed to be done to push out the MVP. That is
Hmm.
why I got a lot of exposure. I had the chance to, just say that, like, okay, we want to develop the UX, but it's going to take some time with the hiring process to actually hire a UX designer. I'll do the MVP. I'll create
Hmm.
the first wireframes so that at least we can push it to production and like start testing it a little. And
Hmm.
once we get the UX designer, then they can beautify it, and then they can just make it much better. But
Yeah.
at least for the time being, at least I can step up and do that role. So
Hmm.
that is how I had all of these functions under that.
Nice. And then can you give me like one example of this bullet point when you say made it human friendly? Would it, taking the UX example,
Yeah.
you build the wireframe. So I'm assuming you start with accomplishments, the action you took for that accomplishment, and the tools you used for that action. Is that the format you used?
Yes, kind of. So with all of my bullet points, I made sure that um, a lot of my bullet points have numbers in it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it can either
Quantification.
be like a percentage increase, or it can be maybe stakeholder communication. So like how many stakeholders were there? If it was leading a team, then how many members? So I made sure that all of my points start with a number.
So resume change this, assuming this was around September, October, because you
Yes.
started applying August, September, October, you're like, okay, I'm getting just rejects. I need to fix this. You
Yeah.
fixed it, made it human friendly. Now, what happened in your journey? Like, is this where you realize that, okay, I need to do more than just application, and I need to also do networking? I don't know. I'm guessing here. Uh,
Mhm.
but like, what did you do? At what point you started to get calls?
Okay. So, at least during my entire fall semester, I was applying like crazy to all places. And
When you
I
say
was
crazy,
also,
like, can you quantify crazy?
again, like 10, 15, 20 applications per day. Sometimes it does happen that a day or two you skip the applications. Maybe you're like, there's so much coursework, you're so overworked with everything, so you might
Mm,
skip it. That did happen. And honestly, even though I was applying so much, but I felt like when I look back, I think I wasn't very sincere while I
mm,
was applying to it. Even though I was like doing everything, I was reaching out to a lot of people on LinkedIn. I was so I was also targeting a lot of startups, and I
mm,
was just finding the emails of CEOs or any of the recruiters or vice presidents, and I used to craft like entire proper messages to them.
mm,
I do remember for this one startup, they had just opened a role. I saw it on LinkedIn. I reached out to every person I could in that team, everyone I could find. And then I also downloaded the app. I used it a little to maybe see that can I find any change that I can email them about it.
mm.
Let's see, I see this change. I want to work on this. They never replied to me.
Oh no. Yeah.
So many cold messages to recruiters. I attended quite some events, but I was receiving no callbacks.
Mm,
Nothing was happening for me, and I just couldn't figure out that what is going wrong.
mm,
So again, as it is, since that was my first semester in US, and that was actually the first time I was living alone away from my home.
mm,
So in December, I went back home during the holidays,
mm,
and at that time, I was when I went back, I was like really disturbed
mm,
because one, coming to the States, you have so many aspirations that it's a new country, you're gonna do work this, you're gonna get an internship, and I had nothing,
mm,
and I had really struggled
mm,
during the entire semester, like keeping up with the coursework, and then I had no internship.
mm,
So I was very, very disturbed when I was going back home. But once I reached home, my okay, so my parents, they actually created like a huge surprise for me.
mm.
Uh, they like all of my family friends, everyone was there, and they had such a crazy swagat for me. When I entered, I was like, I filmed it. I filmed all of it, and
Nice.
even
You
my
should
father
send
was.
it to me if you can.
I actually have uploaded it on YouTube as well. A
Okay.
little.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just insane. And at that moment, I realized that my family is welcoming me. Like, I don't know,
Mm,
like I've won the Nobel Prize, or I don't know, something has happened, and I've done nothing. I
mm,
just I just went to States for 6 months and I came back. I have
mm.
no internship. I haven't achieved something extraordinary.
Yeah.
And still my family is just so happy that I'm visiting them again, and they're celebrating it so much. So those like 3 weeks that I spent with my family, and I realized, man, this is what matters. Like I kind of realized that I really need to work, because all of these people, they love me so much, and they have like no expectations from me. So
Mm,
the least I can do is perform to the best of my abilities.
mm.
So once I got back for my
It's
spring semester.
interesting you say that because so did you feel that you did not perform the best?
So even though I was like doing all I could, but I was still very disturbed. I was taking things very personally. That
Mm,
why am I not able to get it? Like something's wrong with me, or I was I was getting very sad
Hmm.
about not getting an internship, and that
You
was like
cry?
a
Do you cry?
bad impact. Like when I was not getting an
Yeah,
internship.
yeah.
Actually, no, I did not
Mm.
like cry,
Yeah,
but I was just like I was very sad. And
yeah.
when you're sad, it gets reflected in everything you do, how you
Probably the
spend.
imposter syndrome kicked in a lot more.
Definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. It's like, man, like, how am I here? Why did this university even accept me? I had all those thoughts. So once I
Okay,
got
like,
back,
talking about university, I just want to touch on this one point. Um, Again, this is something I keep hearing from people when they see people from CMU and these big
yeah,
university. uh, the other university people who are not from CMU, or maybe mid-tier universities,
yeah,
they would say, "Oh, it's because the tag they have CMU, that's why they get it so easily." I'm like, "No, that's
not
not the
easy.
case."
Not easy at all.
Yeah,
Like, I won't deny we might get some kind of an advantage, but it's very slight.
yeah.
It's not major because I've seen a lot of my classmates perform really, really well, and some of them struggle as well. So it really depends on how hard you work. Maybe
Mm.
the tag might help. It might help in like 5 years being an alumni. It's
Yeah,
a
but
luck of the
it's
effect
not
of
like
that.
because your resume has CMU, I'm gonna be like, okay, Arushi has CMU, I'm gonna give her an interview. That does not happen, and that's what I was trying to explain people as well. That
Yeah,
what it could happen is one, the quality of the peers that you have, maybe that's where
yeah,
like, it does matter, and then second is having alumni in a big company. It's
yeah,
might be
exactly.
easier to reach out to because you are also they're studying, so they know you. There's a common thread to reach out to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so depression, I mean, not depression, but like there is a strong word. You were
I was
going
just
to the
extremely
ha,
sad, yeah. I was
ha,
just extremely sad. That's it.
extremely sad,
Yeah.
celebrated. It was a refreshing for you.
Yeah.
Would you like learning from that phase? Would you say, because yesterday one girl asked me the same question, how do I keep up with constant rejection, keep myself productive by applying, and like it's so hard to like just keep going because they just landed. These are fall 2024 students, and you
Yeah.
are like literally just saying the same thing. So
Yeah.
now looking back, what would you advise them?
Yeah. So, you tend to take all of these rejections very personally,
Mm.
and you tend to get very, very sad when you
Mm.
get all of these rejections. So this is what happened during the spring semester. I came back and I realized the only thing I can do is apply and
Mm.
do the best I can. That is it. Getting an internship or getting anything, it's not in my hands. I had a backup, like, if I do not land any internship, I will happily work in a startup. I will work for an unpaid internship, but at least I'm going to be very sincere in my efforts, and I'm
Mm.
going to be very sincere to myself as well.
Mm.
And that and being sincere to myself was not being sad. So as soon as I came here, I was just doing everything I could. I was I fo- so I had started going to the gym during December,
Mm.
and I continued with that. I really got into fitness, and that gave me a lot of happiness. And then I had like time blocked my entire day that I'm going to work on applications, I'm going to study for this much time, then I'm going to go for a walk for this much time, and everything. So at the end of the day, I didn't feel overworked, and I was just so driven that every day I'm just going to do my best. That's it.
Mm. Amazing.
And
So I
yeah,
want to read this. This is like my course community people, and so
yeah,
this one of the girl. So I this is the question she asked me, right? So I said, make this a fun process. I know this sounds weird, but trust me,
yeah.
sooner you detach your feelings and ego, better you will get at the process. And then there's like a long message I sent. Would you agree?
That is so, so, so true, because because all you can do is just work. The
Yeah.
result is not in your hand, and as long as you're being sincere to your work and to yourself, how like whatever will happen, but
Yeah.
at least you should be content that you've given your best.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you look back and if you even for a second you think that you've not given your best, then it's going to be, start
Yeah.
spiraling, and you're going to
Mm.
think everything's your fault.
Yeah,
So
I love it. Yeah, yeah. Because that is what is in your control.
exactly.
Rejection is not in your control, but applying and being sincere in your case, what you're saying is something you could control, people could control. So yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Going to
This is
gym,
yeah,
walking, fresh energy, amazing. So now you are like with a different mindset. You are applying. You're being sincere.
yeah.
When you say that, like, how does that? What does that translate into your job search strategy?
Yeah. With that, I had dedicated like time every single day that I'm going to
Mm.
sit and apply. And I was again also reaching out to a lot of recruiters. And I was, so in spring, I started attending a lot of career sessions
Mm.
about with these companies, even though a lot of it did not directly relate to me, but I was just there so that I could get the recruiter's name, and then I would go online, find their email, and just then email them immediately after the session that, hey, I was in your session, I really loved it, I saw all of these doors, or maybe can we have a coffee chat, I would love to talk to you about it.
Mm.
So I started doing all of that. One thing that really helped me was like again going back to like being sincere point. So there was one thing I learned really like when I was starting to apply for masters, that a mentor of mine told me that, Arshi, you do not have to be serious, you just have to be sincere.
Mm.
And that really stuck with me. So even when I was applying, a lot of times like no one was reaching out to me, like no one was replying to me. But the thing is, as soon as I decided, I came here and I'm like, I'm just going to be sincere to myself, that is it, that's all I can do. Within 2 weeks, I got my first interview invite from ServiceNow. And after that, it was really amazing to see, because once I got my ServiceNow invite, I had interviews lined up from four more companies. Like during that time,
Wow.
I had another HR call. Like once I got my ServiceNow recruiter coffee chat, I had another coffee chat, and once I finished my ServiceNow interview, and within that timeline, I finished the interview. ServiceNow was my first offer. I got that offer, and post that, I had 3 to 4 more interviews lined up.
Mm.
And it is so funny because only out of those three other interviews, only one more interview was a cold application. One interview I got it by so I had emailed a recruiter months ago
Mm.
about a coffee chat. They did not reply to me. Then I had again attended another session of that same company, and I reached out to the recruiter like just after the session, even though it did not relate to me at all. And I was like, "Hey, really interested in this role." That recruiter, after she replied to a 3 4 month old email, and then she gave me a direct. She gave me an interview invite through that.
Mm.
For this one other company, I think maybe luck played in my favor or what happened, but it was like a really old application. And that company had layoffs. They laid off their entire HR. All of their applications like got shifted to another department. That department viewed it as new applications. And then they selected my application and then they gave me an interview invite. So
Wow. Yeah.
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 It was, yeah, I think just things just started turning for me as soon as I was like, I don't care about the results. I'm
Mm.
just going to do my best. And then just things started happening for me.
Mm. Okay, I want to break this down a little bit more. So you said something that being instead of you're too serious, you need to be too sincere to the work. When you say sincere, what do you really mean? Like, do you mean like the energy, the vibe, going the intention of it, or like is there anything else practical approach to this?
So, honestly, I take this code like since being sincere over being serious in everything I do.
Hmm.
And for me, it's always about intention.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
whatever you get into, and I think with whatever work you're picking up, if your intention is clear, then automatically, you start picking up the right tools and you start aligning your schedule so that you maximize your output for that particular work.
Hmm. Can you define the difference between not sincere and sincere? Like, so before, when you were not sincere, what were
Yeah.
your behaviors like? And now, when you were sincere, what changes in the behavior happened?
Yeah. So, like during the fall semester, even though I was putting in all of my efforts towards finding the job, but I was not happy with myself.
Mm.
And I was just taking all of these rejections so personally. So, in a way, I was not being sincere to myself.
Mm.
I lost a ton of weight. I was down by 10 kgs.
Oh, wow.
Mister, yeah, it was just really, really bad. I stopped eating the entire day. I would just have like one meal, and that's like a Subway, and that I eat once, and I'm like done. No breakfast, no lunch, just an evening snack, like one entire Subway, and done for dinner as well.
Oh, no.
So,
Yeah.
since I was that, and then one really important thing is to like keep participating in events, because in a school like CMU, and I'm sure like other schools as well, here the coursework is extremely rigorous. You're
Mm.
not left with any other time, and if you're not conscious, and if you don't take in efforts to actually go out and meet people or have like like this good fun, that just enjoying other cultures. Like by fun, I just don't mean by partying, that doesn't cut it out, but it's really important to be part of that so your brain can like relax and you can be just happy
Yeah, yeah.
that you're
Mm.
doing this, you're doing your best.
Yeah.
So with that, in spring semester, I was just doing everything. Like I was going to multiple classes. I was like like dance classes, salsa classes. At the
Mm.
same time, I was studying, I was applying, then I was going to the gym. My entire day was packed. And at
Mm.
that time, I decided that I will not go out and party until I get an internship. And I
Mm.
was very happy to, put that discipline in myself, because until I didn't get the offer or I didn't get the interview invite, I just didn't feel like, going out or spending my energy in that way. And
Mm.
at that time, I was like very clear, man, this is what I want to do.
Mm.
But honestly, like that's just me. I've seen a lot of people who've partied crazy and they are also doing really great things in life.
Yeah.
So I think it's really just important to figure out your rhythm. And
Yeah.
for me, this is what
Yeah.
works for me. If
Yeah.
I'm disciplined, things work for me.
Nice. Okay, great. So 3 interviews through coffee chat. So these sessions are organized by CMU?
Yes. So a lot of these sessions are organized by CMU, but otherwise, if you're enrolled in some kind of mailing list with the company, they might send you like an invite for these information sessions,
Mm.
because for internships, they have their programs rolling on
Mm.
for like grad internships or whatever. So they do a lot of these information sessions where they tell people about the recruiting process, about working at that particular company.
Mm.
So if you keep those in mind, I think it's a really, really good way to get noticed by the recruiter that you
Mm.
are so active in those sessions.
Got it. So you would attend these sessions, and the recruiters are typically there. They would give the spiel like, here's what our company are, here's what
Yeah,
values are, blah, 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 here's the
yeah,
process.
yeah,
And you were like, okay, you go to LinkedIn and then you would message them, or is it cold email, or both?
both. Like LinkedIn, um, I see that a lot of these recruiters, because this is like a really busy season for them,
Mm.
so it's a very, they might not reply on LinkedIn. I think the best bet is to just email them. Like
Mm.
try to find their email from somewhere
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just email them, because if they might reply on email, but not on LinkedIn.
And no recruiter was annoyed that how the heck did you find my email and send me this email?
No,
Yeah.
because honestly, like it's not so difficult to find emails,
Yeah, yeah.
because
I
once,
mean, Hunter.io, a lot of these extensions are there. You can
yeah,
just go scrape.io, like there are a lot
yeah,
of them. Yeah,
yes.
people can
And if
go.
they are annoyed, they can just not reply. That's
Correct.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the worst thing will happen. But the best thing is you might end up getting an interview call.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm.
And even when I used to email them, it's not spam, right? I'm just, even like they have a job, they need to find talented candidates, and if
Mm.
someone's just walking up to them, it's getting easier for them.
Mm.
So I used to make sure that my email was short. I did not dive deep into all of my capabilities, but I always attached my Calendly link and my resume with them just for their reference. And a lot of times, if you know if you just email them at the right time, like maybe right after a session, or used to always schedule my email right for the morning, so that as soon as they start their day, they can see the
Right.
message
Yeah.
email pop up, and then they will have in their mind that if they want to reply, they might reply. And
Mm.
if they are the recruiter for that, then that's fine, or they sometimes just forward the email to the right recruiter.
Nice. What would you say in this email? What's the subject line?
For at least for this particular one company, I had a coffee chat with one of the CMU alum, and I just told them that I had a coffee chat with this person who's senior product manager at this role. I really love this company and I love the culture, and he suggested that I should apply for this role. I
Mm.
always, because during the coffee chats as well, when I'm it's more like a mentorship call, usually the coffee chats I have with Alim. And I always structure it in a way that uh, you've seen me, you've seen my profile, now just tell me what can I do, like
Mm.
how to apply for this company. And because they are your alum, they want to help you, so they tell you some good tips, and I make sure that I always include their name in the
Mm.
email.
Yeah.
And then I tell the recruiter that, hey, this guy really said that I should apply. So
Yeah.
I'm reaching out.
In sales, because I'm like learning a lot about sales and marketing these days, because I'm in marketing. It's
Yeah.
called borrowed credibility. Uh, so that because you're like they are not referring you, but you are like getting their using their credibility by saying
Yeah.
like, oh, I spoke to this person, they work at
Yeah.
here, they told me
Yeah.
great things about it, and they said I should do this. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of a term like that's what a lot
Definitely.
of sales and marketing people do as well. So okay, great. So this is email that you're sending. I also want to dive into coffee chats. This is, let's say it says alumni. How do you know who to reach out to? Do you have a list of companies that I want to reach out to these people, this company, and my alumni who are working in this, or like how do you select who to reach out to?
So I actually start by a company.
Hmm.
If I'm actually sending a cold email for a coffee chat, then I go to company and then I look at the kind of role I want. And sometimes I filter it by areas, that if I want someone in San Fran area or if I want someone in Pittsburgh area.
Hmm.
And then I just shoot them a cold message that, hey, I'm a tartan. I need some guidance over this.
Got it. And so let's assume you service now, you found a CMU alumni. So these people who are fall 2024, they're like, oh, Arushi was an intern, service now. I want, this is my dream company. They found you. They are now reaching out to you.
Yeah.
What should they message you that will get your attention? You will be like, okay, yes, I will respond to them.
So I don't respond to formal messages.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's too much to read and it's boring. So
Formal matlab like three, four, five paragraphs.
yeah, if it's three, four paragraph, I don't bother reading it at all.
Ah,
Uh, and if it's like very, very formal, then sometimes I do reply, but I don't feel like a connect with the person.
mm,
Because if someone would come to me and talk to me like this, I would be very open and I would be willing to have a conversation. But
mm,
if they come up with me, like no one talks like that in real life, right?
yes.
So I just don't feel any connect with the person. So
Mm,
being informal, but not even just digging for information, that uh, and not asking very generic questions, like in the first question, that what did you do at ServiceNow? Like I need to type so much. I don't want to
mm,
type so much.
mm,
So I think the icebreaker things are asking a question so that the other person can reply in like a sentence or two.
Hmm.
And once that person has already replied in a sentence or two, then maybe you can, dive deeper into your bigger, more useful questions where they have to like maybe type paragraphs or like come on a call with you.
Hmm.
So, at least for me, if someone wants to reach out, I think that, hey, I'm in this field and I really want to get, um, I want to pivot, or I want to get in this company. Do you have like 15-30 minutes on your calendar for this time? And if they do that, and if they also send that Calendly link, so that it's just easier for me to schedule a time with them, because I don't want to go back and forth. Why are you free at this time? Like, I don't want to ask them a question that, oh,
Yeah.
are you free on Thursday 4 p.m.? And they're like, no, I have class. I'm like, but I'm not doing all of that.
Right, right, right. Okay. Yeah. I remember I also used a borrowed credibility with you. I was like, yo, I got you, like I spoke to
Yeah,
Dipam, who's your
yeah,
senior,
yeah,
and then of course I had the Calendly as well. So
yeah.
that's I'm glad
Honestly, I knew who you were. Like
that's true,
that,
obviously.
yeah, like that didn't. I mean, that's great that you use the borrowed credibility thing. But man, I've been watching your videos from a really long time, so I was like really happy that, oh, he
Yeah,
reached
yeah,
out
but
to me.
still, I don't like to take that for granted. Like I still
And
want,
that's actually very sweet. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I was
that
like,
shows that you're really grounded with everything.
but I only want to, like, you are preaching things that you have practiced. Same thing, I would don't want to preach something that I don't practice. So
Yeah.
even like there is a chance that you might have watched it, but I didn't want it to assume that you did. Yeah, but amazing. So company alumni message, cold message on LinkedIn, connecting. Do you connect without connection note?
No. So all of my requests for a coffee chat are through the note,
Yeah.
because
I
at
get
sometimes you have
thousands of
things.
requests every single day and does not have a connection node. And I'm like, what are you doing? So you're wasting that real estate that
Yeah,
is given to you for free. But regardless, I've
yeah,
talked many times and vented
yeah,
many times. Yeah.
yeah. That's
So
true. Like, if I really want to have a conversation with someone, I always send them a note.
hmm. So you are sending them a note. They respond. You ask for like calendar link, or you give them these options. Uh,
Yeah,
they book the call, or you book the call. Now
yeah.
you get on a call with them. The conversation really starts with who you are. How do you break down the 15 minutes?
So, I kind of always start with, how was your day? What do you do in a day? And with that, they tell me about maybe their meetings or anything, and I try to have like a bit of an informal conversation right in the beginning that's not at all relevant to whatever we're going to talk about. And once that's done, then I give them my introduction. And if they're an alumni, then I would have some points like, are they from my same course, or are they just like a CMU alum, like they may be from a different degree. And if you're in the same field, then maybe I would ask them like, what are some courses you would recommend.
Yeah.
And then once I tell them my situation, that, hey, I'm like without work experience, like you being in the same role, what do you look for in a candidate? What do you think makes a person successful in this role? How can I develop those kind of skills? So I have conversation around all of this. And if I want to apply in their company, or if I want to ask for a referral, I keep that at the end. And I just um, like at the end, I ask them like kind of an like open question, that, hey, I want to apply for this company, for this role at your company. What do you think is the best way to do it? And they tell you their answers, like, you can reach out here, or you can just cold apply. And then sometimes they do offer
Yeah.
that I can refer you, or at that point you can just ask that, would you be comfortable referring me?
Hmm.
And it's a yes or a no, and that's okay. That
Yeah.
whatever you say, because you've had that mentoring session with them as well. So
Hmm.
that's also very valuable.
Nice. I love that template. And one more question. Who are these people? Are they director level? Are they your level? How many people do you reach out to from each company? Is there like, okay, I reach out to 5 people or 3 people or something like that?
So it really depends on. I think it really depends. Sometimes I connect to people because we have kind of a similar experience. For example, they must have also started their PMO strategy intern like career right after undergrad or right after masters without any proper work experience. So I think that's like really valuable because that helps me understand how did they
Mm.
get
Correct.
their
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
career start. And otherwise, it's just like really anyone. I don't look at the senior tag or director tag. I just reach out to people who are in the same field as
Similar
me.
path. Okay,
Hmm.
got it. Nice. So that's alumni, some random stranger on the train, and then recruiters sessions, company information sessions, where you would find the recruiters, you would cold email them, get them on the call.
Yeah.
And with recruiters, are you trying, like when you try, do recruiters get on a call, or do they just directly send you like, okay, here is the interview invite?
So recruiters never got on a call with me. I sent them so many requests that please let's come on a coffee chat or
Yeah.
whatever, but they don't respond. It's usually the alumni, or even if it's not alumni, a lot of people in the roles they are willing to come on a call with you. So that's really helpful, and they can just give you some tips on what's the best way to apply to their company.
Hmm. So,
So yeah,
in those sessions that you did, i- in that when you found the recruiter's email,
yeah.
you are at this point you are asking for coffee chat, or are you just asking like what are you asking them, like they are that you have applied to the company, or coffee chat or referral?
So when I'm emailing the recruiter, I first check on their website whatever open roles they have. I make sure that I have applied to that particular role,
Mm.
and then I email them and I say them that hey, I attended this session, loved it. I have applied for this role. I'm really excited about it, and I want to get on a coffee chat with you to see how my experience would fit in with
Amazing.
with my like career goals and also the opportunities at the company. So would you be willing to come on a coffee chat, like
Hmm.
something like that?
And they are like, they don't respond to coffee chat, but they're like, here is the interview call.
Uh, yeah, so this happened with me with like one company, the recruiter I emailed to, she messaged me after like a week, and then she said that I don't look at recruiting for this particular role, but I can forward your email. And then she forwarded my email to a recruiter I had emailed like months ago. And with that, they just reached out to me with an interview invite.
Hmm.
Like it was actually like first a recruiter screening call, but and so the process after the screening call, then they gave me the interview invite.
Nice. Crazy. 10 to 20 interviews every single day on in fall semester. Switch the strategy in spring to more outreach, with more positive energy and focusing
Yes.
more on yourself and how you're applying. And that turned into 3, 4 interviews. Did you end up getting more offers than one?
So I actually did not. So what happened with me was, yeah, I think that's like a very that's just my fault. ServiceNow was my first offer I got, and I had almost like I was very close to signing it. I was just waiting like till the last day because I thought I have the time, so why not? And at the same time, since I was interviewing for other companies, I was very happy with ServiceNow, with the role, with the compensation, with the title, and the also the career trajectory. And I was really happy with the company.
Yeah.
So I was not as excited for all of those other companies, even though I had two PM invites. But I was just really satisfied with
Hmm.
ServiceNow. So
Hmm.
I just did not prepare for
Yeah.
those interviews. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna fling it. I'm just gonna wing it. And then like after that, I realized winging it does not work with
Oh,
me.
yeah.
If I don't prepare, I'm not getting it.
Yes. Yes.
So that was like a good lesson. But at least I had the cushion
Yeah,
to,
yeah, of course. Then you become almost more confident because now at this point you don't really need it. You're just gonna like you're at this point you're like, okay, I'll just
yeah,
see what happens. Uh,
yeah,
kind of attitude.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I actually pulled out of two recruitment processes
Mm,
because I was like, I don't want to like get into the process and then perform really bad because it's just going to take a big hit on my confidence level as well. And I know I'm not in the mind state to prepare for it. I'm like really satisfied with ServiceNow.
Huh. Yeah.
So I just pulled out of the process,
Yeah.
and recruiters actually appreciate it because they don't want to waste their time, because they're
Exactly.
calling their team, their all of their talent, and it's just fair.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. Plus, if you bomb the interview really bad and they have the notes, and then if you want the full-time role, they have that notes, and then you might, burn the bridge like at that time. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you did
definitely.
this. Yeah, smart thing. Cool. So what do people ask in business strategy? I'm assuming it's all behavioral questions.
So at least with ServiceNow, I had a super day. I had 3 rounds,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah. So my first round was my hiring manager grilled me on my resume.
Hmm.
My second round was actually a casing round, and at that
Mhm.
point during my like ServiceNow prep, before that I was just focused on product related preparation. Like I was going through a lot of product case studies and product tear downs. I never prepared for consulting roles, and I'd never prepared for case studies.
Hmm.
So I had just like 1 week to prepare for my interview, and I was reaching out to all of my like seniors in MBA or like my friends in MBA, and I made all of them do a mock case interview with me so
That's
that I
smart.
know
Yeah,
what to do.
yeah. So
And my
can you explain what is case interview?
So with casing, there are a lot of different type of questions. They can maybe ask you like a market sizing question, a
Hmm.
merger acquisition question, or any decision based question. So they give you a very vague statement. For example, during my second interview, the interviewer asked me the number of laptops sold in 2023. That's it. That's just your prompt. And then you ask a lot of clarifying questions there.
Hmm.
That okay, is it just US? Is it global? And a lot of
Acha,
and
so they are asking you come like what do you think the number of laptops are sold in 2023 वैसे?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they
Hmm.
don't want a number. Like they don't want you to like sit and think and say, okay,
Ah,
maybe we
like
have laptops.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So
You
they now
walk
they
them through
hmm.
the process. Yes. So you ask a lot of clarifying questions, and then you start off after you're done with clarifying questions. Then you start off with your assumptions that okay, thinking that these are maybe four age groups, and I'm assuming that people buy these many laptops here because of these caveats. They're actually looking at your thinking process. So even it doesn't matter if your numbers are a little off, as long as you walk them through your thinking process, they can see how comprehensive you are throughout, and that is what matters in a case interview. And
Hmm.
my third round was a behavioral round.
Nice. And behavior is tell me a situation where you had a conflict, where you had a
Yes.
failure kind of thing.
Yes, yes. So at least in that round, for the first 15 minutes, so I also have an extracurricular section in my resume. And in that, I've mentioned about the kind of Himalayan treks I've done.
Hmm.
So in the 30 minutes I had for my last interview, 15 minutes, she just talked to me about my experience in trekking, and
Yeah.
she really loved it. So um, yeah, that's almost like always a talking point, which
Hmm.
is good.
Yeah,
You
same for
need to
me.
give them talking points.
Yeah, same for me. Content creation is like almost a talking point. So they always are curious, like, so how do you make money? Do you make money? And like, why do you need this job? It's just like,
Yeah,
I don't make that much money, so I do need this job. But
yeah,
it's yeah. So I think I also recommend anything that is interesting, like Himalayan tracking, or
yes.
I know there are a lot of dancers who or chess
Mm.
competition people. Like there was one person told me that they were at the national level and they competed with like one of the national winner, and so it's like
Mm.
that is something you should absolutely put it because that's a very good icebreaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's so important to have a nice icebreaker,
Hmm.
because like once you've talked about it, your recruiter is very comfortable with you. You feel more confident, you feel relaxed. And honestly, I see it's like less time for them to ask you crazy
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And once you've bonded over something, like they have already started to like you. So you don't want them to ask you, like, okay, tell me this situation and this and that. And now you bombed it because you didn't prepare for it, whatever. So
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so Super Now, I mean, sorry, Service Now happened, Super Day, three interviews, got the offer. What kind of, like, again, salary range for business strategy roles? Like, what do people make?
So at least I think the base pay for in California area is between 80 to 100K.
What? Wait, what? Really?
Yeah,
I am, I am shocked. Business strategy roles are that much?
yeah. I mean, honestly, a lot of other roles make a lot more. So
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, like tech roles, but
yeah,
product
yeah,
non-tech product roles, I've never heard 80 to 100. Like I've heard 60 to 80, but 80 to 100 seems nice money.
yeah. The base is around 80 to 100, and at least ServiceNow is very competitive with their offers. So it's what you get in a like a good market,
Mhm.
and your total comp. Uh, like if you're just starting at the base level, then your total comp might be around 115 to 120.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems less for San Francisco Bay Area. But 80 to 100 seems somehow more to me versus the total like full-time pay.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, the 80 to 100 is per hour. So if you do the math, that's 40 hours per week, which is
No, like 80 to 100K a year, not like our.
oh,
As
okay.
in, it's not 80 to 100. 80 to 100 is like crazy.
My reaction was like
No, no, no. It's like 80 to 100K in a year. I'm like, yeah, it's like not that crazy. I'm like, product makes like a lot more.
Okay, okay, okay. So that's why you are probably confused. Like, why is he reacting so much? It's like,
Yeah, like I didn't want to break your enthusiasm. But I'm like, man, that's like not enough. It's competitive.
yeah.
Like, this is what you'd get in a
Mm.
strategy role. It's that is competitive, but it's
No, but
not.
like per hour intern role, mein to you must be getting per hour, right?
I think these kind of roles you can expect, 38 to 45, like
Hmm.
something
Okay.
in
That
that
makes
range.
that makes more sense because that's what I was expecting. Like you would say something around 35 to
Oh,
55
yeah,
ish.
yeah, I was talking
And
about
then
like
you said 80 to 100. I by default assume because interns get paid by hour
20.
and
I
you
mean, I
still
see
don't
it.
have full time. So I assumed like
Yeah.
80 to 100. I was like, what? That is crazy amount.
Yeah, that is too much.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Experience, I'm assuming, was good. Because I know ServiceNow is, we use ServiceNow at my company as well. We are the customer. So, but yeah, I'm assuming the culture is good. You worked on a good project. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, you get the full time soon.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. I'm still
I,
waiting to hear. Hopefully
I
by the
can,
end
I
of
can
the
ask
week.
my account manager. I am very good. I'm in good touch with my account manager. I can like, hey, hire this girl. Really good.
If that helps the case in any way. So yeah, it's like I had a really good incline from a manager at the end of the internship. He was like, hey, we'd really love for you to come back and join us for full time, but the offer is not in his hand, it's with
Great.
the recruitment team, and that goes through a lot of headcount things with
Yeah,
openings,
because
money,
ServiceNow is
financial.
like a big corporate giant. They have to manage the budgets and all of
Yeah,
that. I know
yeah,
the spiel. Cool. Okay, great. This was amazing. I know we spoke for like an hour, and I loved every bit of it. Any one like last words of wisdom looking back now? Anything you are doing different for your full time job hunt? Because I'm assuming that's what you're doing right now.
yeah. So for full time, I'm actually just again I'm like applying. I'm applying on the same day. I'm not applying to jobs older than like a week,
Hmm.
uh, because I know no recruiters. You're like two at the end of the line. By the time they reach you, they would have found candidates similar to your profile, so you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
So like applying on the same day. And I'm actually just reaching out to a lot of people and understanding that how did they land their job in that particular company, because a lot of these companies have their ways of getting in. At least for ServiceNow, it was just a cold application and applying literally on the same day.
Hmm.
That's it. I know like a few friends at BCG, they only got in through networking. Like
Hmm.
there's no other way. They networked so much for one particular office and in one particular team that the team vouched for them that we want this candidate in our team. That's it. So I'm just trying to reach out to more people, understand uh, how did they get hired, and then just I'm just trying to figure out my way through that.
Nice, amazing. Any last words of wisdom, tips for aspiring, like incoming international students who are now in your shoes, going through the same journey of like the sad phase of seeing rejections and all of it?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that, have fun. Don't be like, don't get overwhelmed with all of these things. Try to stay grounded and just be very sincere in
Mm,
whatever you're doing.
mm.
And at the same time, then try to have fun.
Yeah.
So it's just like being sincere over being serious. That's it.
Nice. Love it. Awesome. Again, thank you so much for doing this. I can't wait to do a CMU video, and that'll be fun as well. Hopefully, it will be not as shocking as the 80 to 100K one. but, but I can't wait to bring you back until our next one.
Yes, keep smiling and keep hustling.
Nice. Great. That was amazing.